Author, let's tell the truth. You posted the book cover. You announced the release. You said my book is available now. You added the link. You may have even created graphics, reels, captions, launch posts, and maybe even sent a few emails. But the response was quiet. And now you are wondering, is it the book? Is it me? Did I do something wrong? Why are people not clicking? Why are they not buying? Or even, why are they not responding? Before you start questioning the value of your message, I want you to look at something else. Your book marketing may have a broken chain because posting your book is not the same as marketing your book. And this is the part many authors are never taught. There is a framework behind marketing a book. There is a way to move a reader from noticing your book to caring about it, to wanting it, to taking action. And that framework is called AIDA: attention, interest, desire, and action. And today I'm going to show you how to use it for your book descriptions, product pages, social media posts, emails, and launch content without sounding salesy, fake, or desperate. Because the publishing truth is this: your book can be meaningful and still be marketed unclearly. And unclear marketing makes a good book look easy to ignore. Now, I need you to stay with me because this is not just a marketing acronym. AIDA is a chain. If you do not get the reader's attention, they may never reach the message. If you get their attention but do not build interest, they do not stay long enough to understand the value. If you build interest but never create desire, the book may sound helpful but not necessary. And if you create desire but never give a clear action, the reader may like the idea and still do nothing. That is why some authors can post again and again and still feel invisible. It is not always because nobody saw the post. Sometimes people did see it. They just did not understand why it mattered to them. And that is a different problem for you to solve. And that is the problem AIDA helps you fix. So today, let's talk about this a little bit more because I want to help you define AIDA simply. So let's make this plain. AIDA stands for attention. What makes the right reader stop? Interest. What makes them feel seen enough to keep reading? Desire. What makes them understand the value of the book? And action. What clear step should they take next? This matters because most authors start at the end. They start with action. Buy my book. Order today. Link in bio. Get support available now. You've heard it all, right? But the reader has not been guided yet. You ask them to act before you help them care. And that is where the chain breaks. So why does this happen? Reason number one, you are announcing instead of guiding. An announcement says my book exists. Marketing says here is why this book matters to the right reader. Those are not the same thing. A lot of authors think they are marketing because they are posting, but posting is the activity. Marketing is the strategy behind the activity. Here's a simple example for you. A weak post says, my book is available now, link in bio. Now, there is nothing wrong with telling people your book is available. You should tell them. But that sentence does not tell the reader why they should care. A stronger version says, you can finish writing a book and still feel completely lost about how to publish it. That is why I wrote this guide to help first-time authors understand the process before they waste money, skip steps, or rush into mistakes. Do you hear the difference there? You see, the first version announces, the second version guides. The first version starts with the book, while the second version starts with the reader. And that is where AIDA begins. Attention. Reason number two. Your hook is too centered on the book and not centered enough on the reader. Authors love their books, and you should love your book. You worked hard on it, and you sacrificed time, energy, money, sleep, and emotion to bring it into the world. But readers are not stopping because your book exists. They stop because something connects to their problem, to their desire, to their fear, their question, hope, or their need. And that means your first sentence matters. Your caption opening matters. Your product description opening matters. Your video hook matters as well. But your email subject, even that line matters. Because attention is not about being loud, it's about being relevant. So instead of saying, my new book teaches self-publishing, you could say something like this. You can write the whole book manuscript and still not know what to do next. Instead of saying, my memoir is available now, you could say what happens when you survive something but still have to learn how to tell the story. Instead of saying, my leadership book is out now, maybe you could say something like this. Some leaders are not burned out because they are weak. They are burned out because they have been carrying too much without language, support, or strategy. And that is attention. There's no gimmicks, there's no clickbait, and there is just relevance for that particular reader. You see, the right reader should feel, wait, that sounds like me when they hear it, because that is what's going to connect them to your book. Reason number 3, you are not making the reader feel seen. This is where interest comes in. Attention gets them to stop. Interest gets them to stay. And the way you build interest is by showing the reader that you understand what they are facing. This is where many book descriptions fall apart in the process. The author says what the book includes, but they do not speak to what the reader is experiencing. They say things like, this book covers editing, formatting, publishing, and marketing. Of course, that's information. But interest sounds a little like this. Publishing a book can feel exciting until all of the hidden decisions start showing up. Editing, formatting, ISBNs, pricing, launch planning, marketing, and figuring out who to trust. This guide helps you slow down and understand the process before you rush into choices that cost you time, money, and confidence. Now, the reader feels seen based off of that. They are not just reading a list of topics. They are reading their own confusion explained back to them with clarity. And because of that, it matters to them. Because when readers feel seen, they keep reading over and over again. Now, reason number 4 for you. They explain what the book is about, but not why it matters. This is a major link in book marketing. A summary tells people what is inside the book, right? Desire helps them understand why the book may be valuable to their life. And I want to be clear. Desire does not mean manipulation. Desire does not mean overpromising to the reader. Desire does not mean saying this book will change your life overnight. We're not doing that here. But desire means helping the reader understand the outcome, relief, clarity, encouragement, protection, preparation, or in some cases, transformation connected to the book. For nonfiction authors, desire may sound something like this. This book helps you publish with more clarity. This guide helps you avoid expensive mistakes. This resource helps you prepare before launch day. This story helps you feel less alone. Or even this workbook helps you organize your ideas before you write. Things like that helps you to even say that this book gives language to something you have been carrying. You see, that is desire. You're not forcing the reader to do something. You're helping them to see the value in what you're providing. And here is the publishing truth to that. A reader cannot desire what they do not understand. So if your marketing is unclear, your book may feel optional even when it is valuable. Reason number 5, you are skipping desire because you are afraid to sound salesy. Now, I understand this one. because a lot of authors do not feel pushy. They don't want to pressure people and they don't want to beg, nor do they want to sound like every post to sound like buy my book, buy my book. Good. Because that instinct is not bad. But here is where authors get stuck. They confuse clarity with pressure. Salesy marketing pressures people, but clear marketing actually guides them. And there is a difference in that. You see, salesy says you need this book right now or you're missing out. It's the fear tactic. But clear says this book may be helpful if you are preparing to self-publish and need a practical path. See, also, when you think about it, salesy says this book is guaranteed to make you successful. While clear says this guide does not promise overnight success. It helps you understand the steps so you can make better decisions. In that aspect of it, it's trust. That is integrity. And that is still marketing. You don't have to exaggerate to create desire. You just have to tell the truth clearly. And that is what matters. So reason number 6, your call to action is vague, weak, or missing. You see, this is the action part of AIDA. And this is where some authors get quiet because they build a post, they tell a story, they explain the book, then they end with nothing. Or they say, check it out, link in bio, available now, go support. Now, those phrases are common, but they are not always clear enough. You see, a stronger call to action tells the reader exactly what to do and to why. And here's an example for you. Read the description and see if this book is the next step for your publishing journey. Download the free checklist before you upload your manuscript. Grab your copy if you are preparing to self-publish and need a clear path. Save this post and use this framework before you write your next book caption. Visit Keywords Unlocked for free author resources that help you prepare before you publish. That is action. That is not pressure at anything. It's direction. Because if you do not tell people what to do next, most of them will not do nothing. Not because they are bad people, not because they do not care, but because confused people usually pause. But clear people move because they have an action or a step that they need to complete. Reason number 7, your product description is being treated like an afterthought. And author, this is one of those places where I need you to slow down. Your product description is not just a paragraph you throw together right before you upload. It is not just a summary. It is not just a place to say this book is about. Your product description is part of the sales process. When someone lands on your Amazon page, your website, your bookstore listing, your sales page, that description has to work for them. Because online, the reader cannot hold the book. They cannot flip through the pages the way they might in a bookstore. And they are looking at the cover, the title, the subtitle, the reviews, if you have them, the price, and the description all at the same time. And in that moment, they are asking fast questions. Is this for me? Do I understand it? Do I trust it? Do I want it? And what do I do next? That is AIDA. So your description should not only say what the book contains, it should guide the reader through a decision. You see, attention start with the reader's problem or desire. Interest show that you understand what they are facing. Desire, explain the value of the book. In action, invite them to take the next step. That's not being dramatic. That is being strategic. And that is what you need to do. So reason number 8, your social media posts all do the same job. You can't be all over the place because this is why authors actually burn out. They think every post has to sell the book. Every post does not have to sell the book, but every post should have a purpose. You know, some posts are for attention. They stop the scroll. For example, you might say posting your book cover once is not a launch strategy, right? Some posts are for interest. They help the reader understand the problem that they are facing. An example of that would be most authors are not struggling because they do not care. They are struggling because they were never taught the publishing sequence. See that? Some posts are for desire. They help the reader see the value of things. So an example for that would be when your book marketing has structure, you stop guessing what to say and start guiding the reader the right way. Some posts are for action. They invite the next step. An example for that would be download the free AIDA book marketing truth sheet before you write your next caption or product description. You see the difference in all of that? Because when every post is buy my book, people get tired and they get tired fast. But when your content builds a chain, people learn to understand the book, trust your message, and recognize whether it is for them or not. That is a marketing system that you want to make sure that you have in your toolkit. Reason number 9, you are not repeating the same clear message enough. And I know this may sound simple, but let me tell you, it does matter because confused marketing trains people to ignore you. Clear repetition trains people to understand you, though. And some authors change the message every time they post. I've seen it. One day the book is inspirational. The next day it is educational. The next day it's a memoir. The next day it's a movement. The next day it is for everybody. And now the reader does not know what shelf to put it on in their mind. That does not mean your book cannot have depth, because it can. But your marketing needs a clear thread. Who is this for? What problem does it speak to? What value does it offer? What should the reader remember? Because if your audience cannot repeat what your book helps people do, your message may not be clear enough yet. And that is not an insult at all. It's an invitation for you to refine your strategy, because clarity is not just for the algorithm. Clarity, in this case, is for the reader. So let's talk about reason 10. You treat marketing like a moment instead of a system. Now think about this, because this is a big one. A book launch post is a moment. A product description is a moment. A reel is a moment. An email is a moment. A podcast interview is a moment, but marketing is the system that connects these moments. And that is why AIDA matters, because it gives you a framework you can use everywhere: on your Amazon description, on your website, in your captions, in your launch emails, in your video scripts, in your speaking points, because in your process, in your author bio, in your book table conversation, everywhere your book resonates, it needs to be there. Now, let me put the full chain in front of you here, because if your book does not stop them, they never reach the message. If the message does not interest them, they never feel connected. If there is no desire, the book feels optional. If there is no action, they do nothing. That is the chain. And when one part is missing, your marketing starts leaking attention. So no, the answer is not always post more. Sometimes the answer is fix the chain. And if you don't do all 4, your chain will remain broken. So since you're here, let's walk through the full fix. Before you write any book description, any caption, email, launch post, or video script, ask yourself these 4 questions. Question number 1, what will make the right reader stop? That is attention. Not everybody, the right reader. You are not trying to grab the whole internet, y'all. You are trying to reach the person the book was written to serve. Question number 2, what will make them feel understood? That is interest. This is where you name the problem, the tension, the confusion, the desire, or the question they are carrying with them. Question number 3, what will make the book feel valuable to their life? That is desire. This is where you connect the book to clarity, confidence, healing, preparation, things like protection, strategy, encouragement, and transformation. Question number 4, what clear next steps should they take? That is action. Buy the book, read the description, download the resource, join the list, save the post, watch the video, or even visit your website. But one thing you might also say is comment with a question, but make the action clear. Now, let me show you what this actually looks like, because a weak post says, my book, Self-Publishing from Scratch, is available now. It teaches you how to self-publish. Link in the bio. That is not terrible, but it is incomplete. Now, let's apply AIDA, the attention. You can finish writing a book and still feel completely lost about how to publish it. Interest, editing, formatting, ISBNs, pricing, launch planning, and marketing can become overwhelming fast, especially when everyone online is giving different advice. Desire, self-publishing from scratch was created to help authors understand the process, avoid costly mistakes, and publish with more clarity and confidence. Now the action. Grab a copy or visit keywordsunlock.com for your free resources before you take your next step publishing your book. Now, listen to the difference. The first version announced, the second version guides. The first version says, here's my book, right? While the second version says, here is the problem, here's why it matters, here's how this book helps, and here is what to do next. That is AIDA. Now, let's take a moment and apply it to a product description, because I think this is really important. Instead of starting with, this book is about self-publishing, start with a reader. Here's your attention. Publishing a book sounds simple until you realize uploading the manuscript is only one part of the journey. Your interest. Many first-time authors finish their manuscript and still feel unsure about editing, formatting, ISBNs, pricing, book covers, launch planning, and marketing. The process can become quickly expensive and confusing when you do not know what to do first. The desire. Self-publishing from scratch gives authors a practical path through the publishing process so they can make informed decisions, avoid common mistakes, and prepare their book with more confidence. Now, your action here. Use this guide as your publishing companion before you take your next step. You see, that is stronger because it not only just describes the book, but it gives you some depth. It is understanding the reader and helping them to decide. And that is the part of the product description. Now, let's talk about applying AIDA even to social media, because I think that's important. So here's a simple AIDA caption structure. Attention, your book launch should not be the first time people hear about your book. Interest. Too many authors wait until the book is live to start talking about it, then wonder why the response is quiet. Your desire. When you build awareness before launch, readers have time to understand the book, connect with the message, and decide whether it is for them. And here's your action. Download the 30-day book launch truth plan and start building momentum before release day. That caption has a job. It stops the right reader, it explains the issue, it shows the value, and gives the next step. So let's talk about ethical marketing truth, because I want to say this clearly. AIDA does not guarantee that every person who sees your post will buy your book. No framework can promise that, but AIDA does help you communicate with more clarity. It helps you stop throwing random posts into the world and hoping someone understands. It helps you to slow down and ask yourself a valuable question. Did I get their attention? Or you might even ask, did I build interest? Did I create desire? Did I give a clear action? That is the work, because marketing your book is not begging. Marketing your book is not manipulating. Marketing your book is not pretending your book is something it is not. Marketing your book is helping the right reader recognize why your book may matter to them. And author, that is part of your responsibility too. You did the work to write the book, right? Now you have to do the work to communicate it clearly. And that is where you come in with that responsibility. So here is the publishing truth. People do not move toward confusion. They move towards clarity. And if your book marketing is not clear, readers may scroll past a book they actually needed. Not because the book had no value, but because the message did not guide them. So before you post again, before you rewrite your product description, before you send that email, before you create your next launch graphic, I want you to check the chain. Attention, interest, desire, and action. If one part is missing, do not panic, but you need to fix the chain. Now, I'm creating a free AIDA book marketing truth sheet to help you apply this framework to your own book descriptions, to your captions, to your emails, and your launch posts. You can find that at keywordsunlock.com. And make sure you watch the next Publishing Truth video, because we are going to keep talking about how to market your book with clarity, honesty, and strategy. Because posting your book is not marketing your book. And once you understand the framework, you stop guessing and start communicating with purpose.